Hi there, I'm Jen Kamerdiener, founder, CEO, and lead practitioner at ClearPath Learning Group. I'm excited to welcome you to the first episode of our new podcast, Paths to Performance. We're inviting you on a journey, and along the way, we'll just talk simply about learning and development, navigating change, and the nature of true performance. So let's kick it off with the first episode, the premise of performance. Walk with us. Hi there, I'm Jen Kamerdiener, founder and chief practitioner here at ClearPath Learning Group. If you're in a role in which you lead or in any way influence the performance of people in your organization, then you're in the right place. At ClearPath, we bear a responsibility to make sure that the words we use are clear and that we don't misuse or misconstrue the meaning of the words in the work that we do. So when we say true performance, let's break that down. We'll talk a little bit about what that means. We see true performance on three levels. So there's the performance of the individual. That individual has joined your organization in a role that they need to fully understand. They've brought skills and experiences. You're going to add to those skills and experiences. And ultimately, what you're going for there is proficiency. Proficiency in that role equals performance in that role. And so we talk about performance at the individual level. How about the team level then? So I'm an individual, but I probably work on a team. There's a process we need to follow. We're all looking to get this ball in the goal together, following a certain number of steps, each of us playing our roles respectively and in concert with one another. So is that happening? There's performance happening at the team level. And then ultimately, the business itself has goals and KPIs, returns on investment, and growth targets that need to be met. And so the performance of the business is ultimately why we're all here in the first place. So how about we start there, back into it, and take a look at performance at all of these levels. And then anything that we do from a learning and development, change, or performance perspective should deal directly with meeting those goals for the greater good of the business, as well as the individuals and the teams in your care. You might be intrigued now and saying, hey, I want to do this work, sign me up. And that's great. You're on the right track. But we've learned you don't just wake up and do this great people and performance work without the experience, without getting in the trenches a bit, without learning the methods that underpin the magic. Now we are global learning and performance architects. We have over 20 years of this strategy and executive consulting experience. We've led initiatives for Fortune 1000 to 100 companies across industries. We've seen it all at this point. But as I said earlier, you don't just wake up and do this work. It has to start somewhere. And for me, this started about 15 years ago. After, at that time, I had served a single, somewhat volatile corporate industry for several years at that point as a learning strategist and leader. And I was noticing the cycles that we as an organization would go through from year to year. And some of this may sound familiar to you. There would be regulatory changes coming, or technology would change, and we would need to implement new systems or new ways of working, new processes, new approaches, or the goals would change, right? The play of the game would change because the game would sometimes change right in front of us. Dealing with this constant change and also needing to onboard new employees into this changing environment, I watched that some of the ways that we were addressing performance were not effective. The one size fits all, for example, was not effective, or the pushing of content where really we needed to prove proficiency. And so as I began to observe how we worked as an organization, I did begin to develop some methodology, a form of curriculum architecture, so to speak, at the time, that then evolved into multiple other methods that we then continued to adapt and adopt along the way as we launched ClearPath, grew across industries, began to learn about other clients' businesses, saw some of the very similar cycles that we had gone through at the time happening again in these other industries. And we began to test out and prove the methods that now stand behind our success in what we call true performance. When we work with any client or any partner in the work that we do, we go after performance. Performance should lead, and all the rest should follow. And so that's our tenet. We are a company founded on helping our clients and our partners succeed in their own performance targets and goals through the work of their people by equipping their people and teams to do just that. And so we've decided now's the time to share more openly about what we do, why we do it, and even how we do it, how to properly analyze and identify those performance issues, how to plan for the performance shifts that are coming around the corners, how to really create the plans that will address the individual, team, and business performance all as one system versus ad hoc and never quite meeting the goal. And we'll also talk a bit about implementation. We don't just strategize and analyze, but we implement all the way through, review and repeat, and hopefully help our organizations that we support also move into more of a mode of continuous improvement. It's about what we call true performance, which is about the proficiency at the individual level, the cohesiveness and performance at the team level, as well as meeting the ultimate goals of the business and how we work all of that together. Performance, true performance, should be the destination for any business. Otherwise, why are we there? And it doesn't have to actually be painful or terribly disruptive. We like to use these words, disruption and transformation, and all the really cool words we can use about what's happening around us. But the change will never stop. And so why don't we just enjoy it? It can be fun. It can actually be quite pleasant. That's why we're just saying to you, walk with us, and we invite you to do just that. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jen Kammerdiener, and it's been a pleasure. You can visit us at clearpathlearninggroup.com. Stay tuned for conversations with a guy named Guy, an early mentor of mine who has helped many navigate their way forward. Next up, every good guide has walked the path before us.